Member Statements. I call the member for Riverstone.
Thank you, Madam Acting Speaker. I rise to advise the House about the new bus routes and extra buses that have recently been rolled out to serve the electorate of Riverstone. By way of context, Riverstone is an electorate which contains the lion's share of the northwest growth centre of Sydney. Over recent years, many new suburbs have emerged, and over the coming decades there will be many more. I've previously spoken about the rail corridor options that are on exhibition, which this government has proposed as possible extensions to the North West Rail link, to which the government has committed as far as Schofields. Both rail corridor extension options would be through the electorate of Riverstone. There's also the context in these new suburbs that have grown up without a rail service, even though one was promised to be completed to the northwest by 2010. And so this area has become very heavily dependent on road transport, and in particular on buses to the city for those who commute there. Many residents have told me of the need for extra buses and extended bus routes, and indeed new bus routes, to serve the population of this area as it has developed. So I'm happy today, Madam Acting Speaker, to congratulate and welcome the government's response to the needs of residents in the northwest, and in particular in my electorate of Riverstone, as evidenced by the rollout of additional bus services. I had the pleasure just this Monday of seeing off one of the first of the new 607X routes as it departed from the Rouse Hill Town Centre on its way to the city. I was joined by the member for Baulkham Hills, David Elliott, as we congratulated the bus driver, met with him as he started that route early on Monday morning. I'd been asked by commuters at Samantha Riley T-Way bus stop just weeks before, as we were handing out commemorating the 1-year anniversary of the election of the government, for exactly this service, and it was a delight to be able to say it's on its way. It was budgeted for, planned by this government, and we're delivering. The 607X route provides a new 7-day route with an additional 7 buses operating from Rouse Hill Town Centre along the North West T-Way, the M2 and then into the city. I'm also especially delighted about the provision of additional 3 buses for route 616X, a local bus service to the city, servicing the suburbs of Kellyville Ridge, Stanhope Gardens and Glenwood. The additional buses for this route take effect on Monday week, the 14th of May 2012. I've also received representations from local residents about the need for additional buses on this 616X route, as it's frequently patronised by locals of these suburbs on their way to the city. I'm proud to be part of a government which listens to the concerns of residents and responds by delivering real outcomes. These additional services follow on from an additional bus for the route T63, which travels from Kellyville Ridge to Parramatta, as well as the commencement in March of the new route 602, an express weekday service operating along the M2 to North Sydney. This was the focus of many requests I received during the election campaign and since, and it's a particular source of pride to be able to deliver that new express route service. In October of last year, route T74 received an additional 6 buses to enable an extension of the route between Riverstone and Blacktown through the ponds to serve those new communities of the ponds and the new Schofields railway station. Transport needs for residents in the northwest were for far too long ignored by those opposite. That's why this government is committed to delivering the North West Rail link and providing necessary bus services in the meantime. These additional bus runs will improve services in the North West Growth Centre and beyond. Local residents, Madam Acting Speaker, will be delighted to see these services on the ground, and I commend the Minister for Transport, Gladys Berejiklian, and the government for responding to real local needs.
Private member statements.